talk to you about what I did on that. What do you think? Is that?
Yeah. The bottom line with nutrition is like, if it works, it works. I think in general, it seems like habits are helpful, but in general, I think rigidity can come back around and bite us in the ass and get us like a kind of guilty emotional things, and you know, we are controlling the system, and if it seems like, you know, this meal I'm okay and this meal I'm okay, but to also kind of grant yourself the liberty to change things up, as like eating like an adult kind of thing, right? But just to kind of give yourself that grace and flexibility, because what you don't want to do when setting up rigid systems is have them kind of siphoned or connected to this based on emotional rigidity as well.
Yeah.
So if something goes wrong and you start to feel bad and you're like, well, I screwed it up, and this like dive into all the things we know we shouldn't, but feeling that we're bad or we messed it up can sometimes trigger that. So to know that ideally you have a handle on it wherever it is, and it's like the piece of bread. How many times have you eaten all the right things but eventually got back to that piece of bread? So if you just eat the piece of bread, right, you circumvent all those other calories trying to be good.
And I think of the same attitude with my workout. You know, I do this 2-mile walk, which is fine, and then I think, what am I going to do in the wintertime? I'm not going to go out. You know, I have a prime excuse. It's raining outside. I'm not going to go walk. So now what am I going to do? Which brings me to my next question. So now what am I going to do?
So, but you still like going to the gym?
Yep.
Okay. So,
and I do the bike on Sundays that you sit down on. That's I forget what the name of that thing is, but
I think recline.
Yeah. So anyway, and I do, you know, about 5 1/4 miles on that in 30 minutes. And
your goal of the walk in general, other than to like hopefully enjoy some of it, is the heart.
Yep, cardio.
So then to bring that to the gym status, again, you could walk on the treadmill, but it would have kind of all those, it would undo the mechanics.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
So you would use the lifting as a form of cardio.
Okay.
So you would look at your rest ratio. So basically the general idea is, how do I keep going without having to rest? So that will probably means that you'll adjust your number, that you might adjust the load, the intensity. You want to mirror that intensity of walking as you're doing the work of the lifting.
Okay.
That's the general picture. So I don't know if you have necessarily a circuit that you do, but how do I go through that circuit, or even if it's a back and forth, how do I do that back and forth in a way where I can continue doing the back and forth?
Yeah.
Maybe it's really low numbers, and the weight that maybe it's the same numbers but lower. Maybe the speed in which I do it. Maybe I do this faster and this slower. So I'm trying to get that same stimulation that you get with the walk, and it's going to be interesting because it's a different modality. So it's going to take you a little while to learn, instead of ramping it up, right?
Yeah.
Again, check your breathing. That's the first sign to say, once my breathing changes, like, okay, I need to. And the other thing is that just because you need a break doesn't mean you need a break.
Right.
You could be, I'm going to I'm going to finish the cycle. I'm going to take a walk around, right? It's a decent sized gym to take a walk around this area, and then I'm going to come back and do it again.
And that's what I do. I basically try to do 4 or 5 of the Nautilus things for arms and stuff is what I work on. But I try to do a walk around that thing between each one. But I basically right now am just doing 2 sets of 10. I'm working with about 60 pounds, 70 pounds on some other stuff.
Is 10 difficult to get to?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially on the second set.
Okay, so something to consider is, again, if we're looking for this steady base, to go from 10 to 12 to 15 to possibly 20.
Okay.
right? So you're getting those extra reps in, but dropping the weight so that you can, it should be difficult, but again, you shouldn't have to, there shouldn't be this huge systemic postural, all this stuff change that happens. But that would be a nice reprieve. Sometimes I go in and I'm just like, I'm just going to deadlift 100 times, right? And it's, you start where you start and see what that looks like. Sometimes that's 10 by 10. Sometimes that's 20 by 5.
Yeah.
So just looking to get that kind of steady state volume, but the same thing, which is, I don't want to say difficult with machines. The whole point of machine is not thinking, not feeling.
Right.
Right? Like you get in here, it's biomechanically locked. So can I still?
Yeah. So I'm not going to twist anything or do anything. That's my mentality. Okay. I don't have to drop anything. I don't have, because I know I'm in this thing.
And that's so how do you keep your sensation alive while doing that? Something that might be interesting, maybe in the next while you can still walk, is to shift maybe a set right now, or to shift from the weight to the not weight. So if you're doing bicep curls in the machine, right? What does that bicep curl look like? Standing or sitting? Whatever you choose. And will I use dumbbells that I have to maintain, that I could feel? Will I use the barbell? Will I check my posture? Will I notice? So how do I take this machine workout that is foolproof, and I don't want to say risky is the wrong word, but that you need to be more alert and aware into that setting. That would be something to recognize. So this thing that I'm very familiar with in this foolproof setting, can I replicate it outside, where I have to be aware, where I have to be the position, I have to be the support and the stability, I have to pay attention to that stuff. That might be a nice, interesting segue within your realm of familiarity to get that sensation and to get that, to be able to feel and stay aware outside of that realm. That'd be the first shift, I think. That'd be pretty, because it actually feeds in really well to that winter time. And because again, when you're walking, the walking pattern is very familiar, but your terrain will adjust, especially when you're taking uphill. It's like, you know that hill is coming, so you know you need to ramp it up. It's the kind of the same thing, like, right? You might want to look at, all right, well, when on my walk does that happen? A mile in. All right, well, I don't have a mile inside, but I have time. So about 15 minutes, I typically ramp it up. So at 15 minutes of that trying to be consistent and constant, I'm going to ramp it up.
Ramp it up. That's okay. I like that idea.
So how to use what you like and know and just put it in a different context.
Yeah. You know, I thought, because they don't have, remember when we did the squats in the center and lifted that thing up? I kept looking at the gym. What the hell do they have here that I can squat and lift?
Yeah, it's called a kettlebell.
And they don't have those.
I think they've got, they might have a few by that weird hanging thing. You know, that big hanging apparatus? If you walk into the right, there's like the overbar set, and then there's that weird... I think there's some... But the other thing is to simply take a dumbbell and put it vertical. So if you took a dumbbell, and then you can grab the top parts of it and utilize it that same way. So that is a way to kind of keep that load long. Perhaps eventually transferring to bars, but I would get really comfortable doing just that kettlebell or that vertical dumbbell off the ground. Probably
I could tell a huge difference in my legs from just doing that here that one time. I mean, it took me 3 days to recover as far as my legs being tired from that. And so you consider that as a shocking pattern. And it didn't wreck anything; it just worked things. So I knew I wasn't hurt. I knew they were tired.
Right. So that is a signal. I need to work on this pattern. Because this quote unquote simple thing done the right way really threw my system for a loop. So you want to kind of utilize that provocation, that poking, to make that thing that challenges you easy. So that's why it would be something that you want to get into kind of your routine of sorts. And again, it can happen as you want it to happen. We never really do tons of sets and reps, right? But what we do then, we know we're trying to focus on everything as we're doing it. The other is the same, that idea of carry versus pickup. So there's one thing to go up and down, which tended to be your that's when your breath and stuff kind of went out of it. So if that motion itself is really challenging and it crosses you over, I don't like this, back off and add a carry to it. Right? Because that carry is work
Yeah.
that allows you to stay out of the up and down, right? But allows that up and down to stay really meaningful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I like that idea.
And I mean, their dumbbells they're really wide.
Yeah.
It's like orange base. So being able to pick those up would be relatively, they don't necessarily have a handle, but they do kind of have that gripping surface built in.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just wrote down what I do, because on Sunday I normally do the bike.
Okay.
And then I really don't lift on Sunday.
Okay.
Because I have breakfast with Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monday I do my walk in the morning, and then I meet Bill for lifting in the afternoon.
Bill's doing well still?
Yeah.
Still working his little heart out.
Yeah, he'll never change. So Monday through Thursday I do that.
Okay.
And then Friday and Saturday, basically I don't do anything.
Okay.
So I take those days off. It's not that I don't do anything, but I really don't plan on going for a walk. I don't plan on working out.
You don't have that exercise built in. But like you said, you're not bedridden.
Right.
You do about your day as you wish to do.
Like on Fridays, because of the heat, I've been watering early in the mornings, and so I'm out and doing that stuff, and I'll fertilize the tomatoes. I'll do different things.
Okay.
So,
do you so you leave that for like your chore day?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So that's another really interesting about exercise. So if you look at somebody who exercises like caloric burn or activity level, right? You look at the chart, they know it's coming, so they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And then they do it, and they're like, I need to work out. And it spikes.
Yeah.
And then comes back down. But then afterwards, it also goes back to zero because they're like, I worked out today.
Yeah.
Right? So they basically focus their movement in that hour or whatever that they're doing.
Yeah.
People who don't exercise are up and down all day. Right? Because there's no excuse.
Yeah.
There's no looking at, I'm going to have to prep myself. It's just, you just live and do. So to try not to really look at those days of how can I optimize as much variability as possible when I'm watering, right? Can I get into like weird positions while can I utilize these chores? It's so funny. Like just around here, like doing yard work, or I help someone move, and you want to talk about deadlifting, when you're picking up boxes and packing them and having to be in this position and then pick it up for hours on end, like you really learn about what your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
So could you take that same kind of, in that non-exercise, can you keep it as interesting? Can you keep it as variable? Like maybe you have the same path that you take, the same, because we're creatures of habit. So could you do it a different way? Like could you have to get over certain and maneuver around certain plants to get at plants? Could I use it, like make it an obstacle course? Like, and of course we don't want to make it so difficult that it's put offish, but are there little things that we can do to kind of keep it?
Well, it's interesting because when I go out and move the sprinkler, if I'm watering, I used to line up the hose so I could just pull it back and just be done. Well, now I go out and I do the squats to pick up the hose because I put it in the middle, and you pick it up, and then of course I have to step over it because it's in the middle, and then you pull it back, and so you do those kind of things just to add something. But it's
I have this friend who's an amusement farmer. He literally farms. He's a trainer, but he also like farms in the city all day. So I was like, don't forget to exercise, right? And it's like it's how are you using your body? And when you get really good at this, when you get really interested, you'll start to examine yourself at rest.
Yeah.
Right? How I'm sitting, how I'm laying. Like, I'm always on that butt cheek. Okay. Like I'll adjust and I'll make. So that's when you're paying attention at rest, when you just want to rest and turn off, like that's when like your mind and body connection is like.
Well, it's funny because I cannot sit. Mary and I have two recliners with like a thing in between us there. So it has a cup holder and stuff like that. I sit there for maybe 20 minutes and then I can't sit in that chair anymore. So I get up and I move to it. She goes, my God, are you moving again? It's like, yeah. It's warm there now. I need to go over to a cool chair.
Yeah, and it's what's the interesting thing is like that it makes you feel kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like you're the outlier.
Yeah.
For doing what the body naturally wants to do.
Yeah.
Right? Even the cat who will lay all day is in and out of positions.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm just like
yeah.
right? And then we'll stretch and then we'll adjust. But again, it's the natural way. And to do things like if someone were to see you like doing a weird squat under a branch in your yard, they'd be like, "What's that guy doing?"
Yeah.
Versus like, "Oh, he's living. He's utilizing his body as it was intended to be used." So yeah, it seems so. Everything's kind of just keep using that curiosity, and again keep using this thing in as many ways as possible.
Okay.
And I think you're going to be golden.
Okay, we leave for New Orleans on the 31st, Halloween.
Okay.
So I know you're done. So we'll probably be in contact with you after that.
Yeah, perfect.
Because you've got through October. Too.
Yeah, it's basically I found out it's like the 21st is like our last game.
Okay.
So. And it'll be winter, so that'll be really nice.
Yeah, shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this pair of shoes, which is what I walk in.
Okay.
And then I have the Under Armour shoes, which are cushier, softer.
Okay.
I cannot walk in those shoes for a distance.
Okay, what happens?
They totally hurt my feet, legs, everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one, because they're stiffer.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm asking you, because this is what I found. These are stiffer, but I can feel my heel to toe action. In the cushy ones,
It's all a cloud.
Yeah, I can't feel nothing.
That's the answer.
Okay.
That's literally, again, you cut off your, like everything's pleasant until it's not.
Yeah.
Because biomechanically your body, you can't pick out the pieces when everything's fluff and cloud and floaty. But this, again, you have that feedback of what's striking and how to correct.
Yeah.
And it's not the shoes, but it's the correction that is making that distance feel easy and pleasant. It's the constant auto correction from the slippage. Whereas on the others, they're so comfortable you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah, and I also find in those, I don't pick up my feet as far. Mm-hmm. I mean,
It almost, in a weird way, it kind of reverts you back to like that lazy efficient state.
Yeah.
And like shoes are like, I got it. And no, shoes, you cannot communicate. You're hindering my communication by being so efficient for me. But that's ideally if the stiffer is helpful, again, how we always walk in bare feet and or socks. Ideally, we want this shirt to kind of go more minimal and more minimal and more minimal. So there's literally just something, these are freeze, right? Not much of a heel at all, but it's basically nothing wrapped around your foot. They have minimalist shoes too, where there's not even any. They call it a zero drop. So the heel is basically, even though you're in a shoe, the heel is basically on the ground, just like a millimeter from it.
Yeah.
So I think if we're finding that this is what's helpful and what's beneficial, then to kind of keep moving in that direction. And there's no rush. Like everyone's like, gotta go barefoot. Like if you're good, you're good. But if this trend makes the walking more efficient and give you more feedback, then you want to keep opening up the lines of feedback, right? Because even now, as you pay attention, there's going to be a point where those don't help you anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're so in tune to what this shoe offers you. And then you put on it's like whenever you put on a new pair of shoes, you're always like, how does this feel? Like everybody does it.
Yeah.
They block it out with other things, but it's in that same vein. And they have them in wide, they have them in, because that's the thing too, is the toe box of shoes is what, especially because I have a wide, I wear men's.
Okay.
Like it's a wide. So a lot of the minimalist shoes are wide on purpose because being in a shoe is what crams them in.
Right.
So you want this, when you take your foot out your shoe, everything moves around. So those are kind of how the shoes are made for that wider sense.
Yeah, I find myself now in the mornings when I get up, I used to dress, put shoes on, everything. Now I don't put my shoes on. I don't put my shoes on until I go out for my walk. And then when I come back, the first thing I want to do is take my shoes off. And so
Alive feet.
Yeah, and so I really work on that. But like, yeah, it used to be, I mean, you get up, you dress, shoes and socks are on, you're up, and now it's like,
get me out of this natural state. Because how are you? It's the same thing when you get up. Like it's that right out of restful state, it's probably the most accurate time of day that you can assess how your body's doing.
Yeah.
Because you haven't messed anything up yet. You haven't put any of the bad habits in. You've literally been lying and resting and sleeping. So, right, I know that when I get up, it's that, like, feeling things around, and I always got to move my ankles. The same thing before I go to bed. That's my tell, is I pump those ankles. I'm like, that's it. Like, we're going to go to bed. So your attention and everything that you are finding is right on pat and in sync with you communicating in and out and getting and using the feedback. I think it also is going really well with the nutrition as well. Like, can you be that attuned? I know my issue with food before was always like, I wanted to eat a lot, and I wanted to feel full. Like feeling full, like Thanksgiving was like, okay, I can't eat anymore, so I should stop eating. And now it's like, I don't think I'm hungry anymore. Like, I think I like halfway through, and then it's like we're good. So that same intuition and how to process and pay attention to your own body's feedback is what will put you where you want to go. People just are really good at, I read this thing and it says, and I read this thing and it says, and this person said this. And so we trust all this because we fail to look at this. Yeah. But once you start to tap in, you'll realize, like, oh, it has everything you need to know. And it can teach you all the things if you let it.
It's